Namaste. If you have been on social media, especially Twitter, you would have heard things like right wing trolls, or left wing anti nationals, or right wing Sanghis, or left wing urban Naxals, or that right wing ecosystem is threatening minorities, or that left wing ecosystem is trying to break India, etc. etc. Did you ever wonder what this right wing and left wing business really is? Do you know the background of these terms that are so freely used these days? Do you know who represents the left wing in India or which party is the leader of the right wing? If questions like these interest you, you are in the right place. Watch this video till the end and you will have all your answers. I am Madhavan and this is The Basement. Terms right and left in a political context were used for the first time in 1700s during the French Revolution to describe seating arrangement in the parliament. Those members who supported the traditional institutions like the church and the king used to sit on the right side of the parliament president, and those who used to sit on the left side were the revolutionaries who wanted to overthrow these traditional institutions. Over time, these terms were appended with wings and have evolved into descriptions of different shades of political thought. Generally, in the West, where the terms right wing and left wing originated, these are used more in a disparaging or insulting manner. Those supposed to be on the right, for example, do not refer to themselves as right wing. The terms generally preferred for self-description by those on the right and left, respectively, are conservatives and liberals. World over, conservatives or the right wing promote traditional social institutions in the cultural and civilizational context like religion, family, property rights, etc., with the aim of securing social stability and continuity. Liberals or the left wing, on the other hand, promote group rights and collectivism. They advocate for things like social justice, civil rights, and shared resources. While conservatives tend to be pro-market, defend low taxes, and advocate a small government, liberals support a large government that tries to steer the society in a particular direction, a direction that they think is correct. So much so that the government enters a person's most personal spaces like the kitchen, bedroom, and the study. And to support this large, omnipresent government, the liberals advocate for higher taxes on hardworking citizens, while at the same time demanding that the government support unproductive citizens and unproductive activities. In the West, there is a clear-cut difference between the political party that represents the conservative or the right-wing ideology and the one representing the liberal or the left-wing ideology. In UK, for example, we have the Conservative Party and the Labour Party. In US, the Republicans and the Democrats. And in Canada, the Conservative Party and the Liberal Party again. Of course, this doesn't mean to say that the ideological affiliation of the political parties is fixed in stone and cannot change. For example, in US, do you know that Abraham Lincoln, who abolished slavery, was from the Republican Party and the Democrats at that time supported the slave owners? Now, it's the opposite. I discussed this ideological inversion in a blog post in my website. You'll find a link to that in the description below. Now that we have seen what happens world over, let's consider if we have a conservative and liberal ideological separation in India, and if we have the political parties that fairly represent this ideological distinction. To start with, our constitution in the preamble itself says that we are a socialist republic. That is, no matter what the ideology of a party, if they are elected to the government, they are constitutionally obliged to pursue socialist ideology. So, as a rule, the government in India is leftist. By the way, this term socialist was inserted into the constitution during emergency by Indira Gandhi. Before that, we were just a democratic republic. But after the emergency, we became a socialist secular democratic republic. No party that came to power after that, even those who fought against emergency to capture power, did not think it necessary to remove this ideological imposition on an entire nation. So, what does that tell us? That there is no political party in India, at least till now, that really believes that socialism in reality or leftism is bad. But if we go by the general discourse on social media or even the mainstream media, it comes across as if the left of center thought is represented by Congress and its friends like CPI, CPM and DMK, and the right of center is represented by BJP, RSS and friends. But the reality is that these two groups aren't that different from each other. For example, BJP and DMK have formed government together, and the Congress is right now sharing power with Shiv Sena in Maharashtra. And even a cursory look at the policy positions that these two groups have taken historically makes it clear that the distinction along the conservative liberal axis is not really correct. Both the groups believe in social justice. Both sides believe that the traditional Hindu belief systems and traditions are regressive and need to be reformed. And only Hindu beliefs and traditions, mind you. Both have no respect for private property and have indulged in taking over people's farms and houses and temples in the name of common public good. Both the sides indulge in throttling, or as they prefer, regulating the private enterprise, collecting higher taxes from more productive, risk-taking members of the society, controlling the private lives of the people. Both sides offer incentives like free electricity, loan waivers, freedom from income tax, minimum support prices to farmers. Both sides take pride in maintaining an oversized, red tape-loving bureaucracy. And both believe in government doing business and are averse to privatization. You get the drift, right? So, as far as government and public policy matters, there is not much of a difference between the BJP side and the Congress. The major, really visible difference between the two sides is their internal organizational structure. As everyone knows, Congress party is a private property of the Gandhi-Nehru family, and only a member of that family can become the party president. If there was any doubt, recent events have once again established that. BJP, on the other hand, gets its leadership from the ranks of the RSS. They probably have a little bit more breathing space for the organizational democracy there. Also, the BJP and friends are probably a little less corrupt than the Congress. Mind you, I'm not saying not corrupt, only less corrupt. Of course, these are just superficial differences that can change at any time. Propensity for corruption can change with a change of personnel. For example, in many states, BJP ministers and even chief ministers have faced corruption allegations. Similarly, the family ownership of Congress is getting challenged from within, at last. Does this mean there is no real ideological divide between the two major political camps in India? Or do they both stand for exactly the same thing except for some minor superficial differences? Not really. There is actually a very solid line that separates the two sides, except that it is not along the conventional right-left or conservative-liberal axis. From the time we became independent in 1947, the politics in India has been divided along how the parties look at majority Hindu population of our country. The country's leadership at the time of independence was unfortunately entrusted with people who looked upon Hindus with suspicion and frankly with contempt. They thought of Hindus as this regressive, superstitious people and took it upon themselves to complete the colonial project of civilizing the heathens. So, they made laws that undermined the Hindu traditions and set out to a campaign of indoctrination to undermine the Hindu worldview through a gaslighting, doctoring our history and corrupting our educational system. In fact, this went to such an extent that our constitution itself contains provisions that explicitly deny certain rights to Hindus that are available to minority groups. This anti-Hindu faction included the Congress, communists and their fellow travelers. This Hindu-phobic model of governance was further intensified during the times of Indira Gandhi and her family successors, reaching a peak during the 10 years of Sonia Gandhi's remote control rule. The opposition to this governance model was led initially by the Hindu Mahasabha, then the Bharatiya Janasangh and later on by the BJP. This non-Hindu phobic faction of Indian politics, while agreeing with the socialist and welfarist policies of Congress and the communists, differed with them only on the Hindu question. They coined slogans like justice for all, discrimination of none, or one nation, one law, or sabka saath, sabka vikas. I should be clear from these slogans, they didn't advocate for any special treatment of Hindus but only for the end of special treatment of non-Hindus. In fact, they claimed to represent the true secular faction of Indian politics and accused the opposite side of practicing what they call the pseudo-secularism. So, the division in the Indian politics is not so much along the conservative and liberal ideologies or between the center-right and center-left factions, but between those who discriminate against Hindus and those who don't. Now, if you paid attention, you would have noticed that I said the division is between those who discriminate Hindus and those who don't. Normally, if one side is anti something, those who oppose them tend to be pro that thing, isn't it? But the peculiarity of Indian politics is that the non anti Hindu side is not really a pro Hindu group. They are only better in that they don't actively go around thinking up ways to harm Hindus. This is evident from the fact that while they do not make any new laws or provisions that are intended to deny rights available to other religious groups to Hindus, they don't take any steps to undo such measures put in place by the previous dispensation either. Take the case of Article 30 of our Constitution, for example. The name of the article itself is the right of minorities to establish and administer educational institutions. No such right is extended to Hindus, and many years after the supposed right-wing government in power, we still don't have those rights. Or take the case of the RTE Act. One of the provisions of this law gives the government power to take away 25% of seats in every class in every private school, even if they don't get a single paisa of aid from the government. But this law doesn't apply to those private schools administered by the minority groups. Not only has the BJP government, after many years in power, not corrected this discriminatory provision of the law, they even helped Sonia Gandhi pass this law in the first place. Or take the case of the minority-specific scholarships provided by the central government. My personal belief is that you can't have affirmative action such as reservations or scholarships based on a trait that can be changed by a person at will. For example, I will not be able to change my caste even if I want to. But if I want to, I can change my religion this very minute. So giving special treatment such as reservations or scholarships based on person's religion is indirectly incentivizing religious conversions. When Sonia Gandhi's government introduced minority-specific scholarships, then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Mr. Narendra Modi, rightly opposed it and even went to the Supreme Court to challenge those schemes. But when BJP formed the government in the centre, Prime Minister Modi not only continued Sonia Gandhi's scholarships but also introduced new religion-based scholarships of his own and implemented them much more better than Sonia Gandhi and Congress could ever do. One such scholarship scheme is Nai Udan, which provides financial support for specialized coaching to minority candidates appearing for UPSC and other such civil service exams. No such support is provided to the economically weak Hindu candidates. Just think about the absurdity of this scheme. Government is conducting an exam to fill in jobs in the government, and it provides financial help to prepare for this exam to only one set of candidates. Fair play and equal opportunity can go for a toss. Now, there are allegations that the government is even giving extra marks to some special candidates in UPSC exams to increase their numbers in the civil services. Then there is the whole story about government control of temple administration. If you don't know, in most states in India, it is the state government that decides how things should be run in a temple. The Hindu devotees who pray there have almost no say. These temple control laws were initially brought in by the British because, the Hindus who built those grand, wonderful temples are too stupid to be able to manage them. Then, in continuation of civilizing the heathens project, the Congress government that came in after independence continued those laws. And maybe because they shared the same view of Hindus, the BJP governments also continued. But that is not the main story here. It is the hypocrisy of the so-called Hindutva party in all this. Where they are out of power, like in Tamil Nadu or Kerala or Andhra, they are critical of the government interference in the temple affairs. But as soon as they come to power, say in Karnataka or Maharashtra or Tripura, not only do they continue these temple management laws, but even enact new ones if they don't exist, like they did recently in Uttarakhand. So, to summarize, the conventional descriptions of right-wing and left-wing politics don't really apply in India. The right wing, as is generally understood in the rest of the world, does not exist in India. What we have is only different shades of the left. Among them, the main differentiating factor is how they view Hindus. There is one set, represented by Congress, Communists and the Periyarists, who actively discriminate against Hindus and indulge in Hindu-phobic propaganda and lawmaking. Their opposite camp consists of the likes of BJP, RSS and their friends who, while not actively harming Hindu interests, do nothing to undo the actions of the other group. They can at best be described as being disinterested towards the Hindus. So, the apt description of the two political wings in India is Hindu-phobic left wing and non-Hindu-phobic left wing. If we want, we can redefine the left wing and the right wing to mean these two groups in the Indian context. Hope you liked this video and learned something new today. Please subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon, leave a comment and spread the word among your family and friends. Thank you for watching. Till I meet you again, Namaste.